to hear what it's really like to be a voice actor. It's the Voiceover Gurus podcast.
Hello again to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. I'm Linda Bruno. I'm really psyched today because months back, I had some gentlemen on the show and they all gave their perspectives about where they were in their careers. And this time we got the ladies with us. So I'm super excited. We're going to go around a little bit. You ladies are going to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from. Carrie?
My name is Carrie Farris and I'm based out of Austin, Texas.
Barb?
I'm Barb Lyon and I'm in Batavia, Illinois, just outside Chicago.
You look a little confused.
Well, say where I'm from, but nobody knows where it is.
Oh, gotcha. And Gwen?
I'm Gwen Poynor, and I'm in Salt Lake City.
Very nice. Okay, so a couple of little just generic questions here to find out where you're at. Gwen, when we start with you, how long have you been doing voiceover? When did you start? I know you were doing it a long time ago, then stopped, but tell us your story.
Okay, so cut to the chase. I actually started when I was about 7, and I was in front of the camera as a little girl and got behind the mic at, I think, 13, because my dad owned an advertising agency. So anytime he needed talent, he called on me or my sister. And so we got to see what it was like to be behind the scenes in an audio production facility, which was super cool. As a little kid, especially, it's like magic. So I loved it. And thought, gosh, one of these days I want to do that. And so when I got older, I actually went around town knocking on doors with business cards. This is in the 80s. This is how you did things, right? You went around and you knocked on the door and you said, hey, I do this. I'm a voiceover artist and I can do this for your corporate narrations or your industrial narrations. And if you need this for your business, I'm here. And that's actually how I got business, with my business cards, just putting them on the desk and saying hi and then leaving. So I had some really great clients and I loved it. I loved reading off the teleprompters, doing their industrial videos, and had so much fun. And then fast forward, I had some kids and my husband moved us to Utah. And then we moved back from Utah back to Oklahoma City, where I'm initially from. And if I have a couple beers, you'll hear me. I can talk like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all. I fall right back into it. But anyway.
Oh, there's my friend from Texas right there.
Yeah, right there. Oh, we could talk, right? And we both get back into it, I bet. So I really have to watch that accent. But my kids were raised in Oklahoma City and I volunteered a lot. And when they were in high school, I was like, okay, they're going to graduate soon. And as soon as they graduate, I'm going to get to go back out and do something professional and actually make money and do what I want to do and be back in the workforce. And what am I going to do? Am I going to recruit? Because I used to be a recruiter. Am I going to do recruiting again? Or am I going to do voiceover again? And voiceover won out. So it was totally different, because when I was in the production studio the last time, it was my engineer splicing my tape, right, on a big reel. And then he would splice the tape with his X-Acto knife, put that reel together, and the big steel reel would go into a FedEx box and would give me the FedEx box. And I would take that FedEx box to the advertising agency or the production or the TV station. That's how long ago that was. So I was like, wait, digital. What is voiceover now? It's a digital. So it was a big learning curve for me. And that was back in 2020, 2021. I got on Voice 123, got a whopping 5 clients and a whopping 3 thumbs up in a year, and then said, forget that. So
hey, that's pretty good, by the way. Just saying. It is.
3
for Voice 123.
Oh my gosh. I was pathetic. I was so embarrassed. But these 5 clients still use me to this day. So it's like I got my $895 back and then some. So, and then I met Linda. Linda was not only a wonderful voiceover coach, but she was like my therapist. I mean, this is a hard business to be in. And I needed some coaching and some therapy. And she was my savior for several.
That's so sweet.
And that's where I am now. And so my mom passed in 2022. And so 2023 was a whirlwind for me getting back into it. And so I'm just kind of getting back, getting my feet back into it again. But I'm good. And I enjoy it.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Barb, are you ready to take the microphone?
Sure. Okay. So I went to school for broadcasting at North Central College, Naperville, Illinois, the mighty WONC. Go Wonkers. I started doing commercials for my husband's radio station right after I graduated. So that was 93. And I was working at a small production facility where I would one day meet the infamous Linda Bruno. I wasn't doing any voice work for them initially. Eventually, they let me do a little, and I arose to a point in the company where I was casting talent and coaching and engineering and doing voiceover and doing everything. And I did that for 23 years. And then I said, enough of this. So I went full-time voiceover in 2016, and I've been full-time ever since. I got my glorious Studio Bricks vocal booth about 8 years ago. I love it. It's life-changing. Oh, gosh. What else? I mean, I have a very short trajectory. I joined the casting sites in 2012. I made money off Voice 123 initially, kind of like someone else. Mm-hmm. And then Voice 123's algorithm went kabonkers. And, you don't make money on that anymore, but I do well on voices. So between that and a few agents I have and some repeat business I've either gotten myself or they're still hanging on from Voice 123. It's been really good.
It's a beautiful thing, though, about, the earlier days of Voice 123, because and that's what I tell students, it's like once you have a client that you manage to impress and they love you, they usually don't go, I'm not going to say, but a lot of times they'll stick with you, and that's the best. And you'll have people for years and years and years. And it's a great thing. Well, good. Carrie, your turn.
Well, gosh, there's so much. We have like hours, right? We have hours. I don't even know where to start. Besides, my first job out of college was in radio, and I absolutely loved it. And I had to give it up and move for my husband's career. And I raised kids. In that, I've always worked. So I'm a yoga instructor and a meditation coach. And through that, people would ask me to record for them, like meditations. And I got into mics and I got into recording, and that's kind of where it went. And then as my kids got older, like you, wanted to see, could I even get back into this? Like, it's just too much time has passed. But I want to try, and I have nothing to lose. I already have the equipment. And so I just started researching what were the best sites. I got on Voice 123 and Voices right away because I found that those were the two top ones that I felt confident with. I got an audiobook the first 2 weeks of Voice 123, and then like maybe 3 clients that year on Voice 123. Right. So after the first 2 weeks, I was like, wow, I can do this. I didn't know that there's such ebbs and flows to this, and still trying to find what my voice really is and where my genre, is there. And so it's just been such a great journey in that way.
Do you think that's what surprised you the most so far, Carrie?
Yeah.
The ups and downs?
Yes, because I thought you're going to get on a platform, right? And after a couple of clients, it would just start rolling naturally, because that's how things kind of happen. And then with the algorithms and other things, you realize that it was great practice for auditioning, in my opinion, because it got me rolling. I had auditions there that I could just do one after the other. And I knew that I needed coaching, and I reached out, and, Linda's heard this several times, but I've had some pretty bad coaches and wasted some money, got ripped off on the first one. So, but then I just started listening to podcasts, and that's how I stumbled upon this one. And I listened to her for a year before I reached out, and I was like, I can trust her. I can.
Yep.
So I did, and it's been like a year and a half that I've been with the VO Guru community and training, and I love it. I mean, it is such a great plug-in of an outlet. Like, you plug in there and you can find your resources, find some friends, find some camaraderie, and not feel so alone. And I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just for real.
It's very sweet.
This is not a paid advertisement. I swear. It really
Thank you.
Has helped me a lot.
Thank you. So now, Gwen, shifting to you, what do you think has been the most surprising thing about this business? What have you discovered?
Probably just what Carrie said. I mean, I thought, especially with my background doing this when I was 20 and 21 and doing it pretty well. I was pretty successful in my 20s, just knocking on the door, giving them my business card and doing videos for them, the audio behind the videos for them. I thought it would be easy. I thought I'd get on Voice 123 and I thought instantly I'd have all these people saying, hey, I need this, I need that. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be really busy. I love being busy and being productive and doing well for a client and having that client relationships and pleasing the client. I wanted to do that. So, and I thought that's what was going to happen, but it just didn't happen with me. So
yeah, that's interesting. What about you, Barb? You have anything that's been surprising to you?
Well, I don't think anybody stays consistently busy, so we're all in really good company. I guess 2 things have surprised me. One is the number of people that come out of the woodwork having absolutely zero voiceover or radio experience that are just like, yeah, I'm going to get into it. Like, oh, really?
Yes.
A little bit of a learning curve.
Okay, I have to say something really quick about that. I've had 2 people just in the past couple of weeks reach out, and I have given them solid, real advice. And the responses, they're just jumping on. They don't think they need a demo. You know, they don't think they need coaching.
Yeah.
Because they've had acting experience. So
you talk to them about spending any money on the studio, their equipment, coaching, demos. It's all like, what are you talking about? I don't have to do all that. I'm like, yes, you do.
There's a certain way that you submit your auditions. There's a certain way that you record them. There's a certain amount of seconds before it. There's a certain amount of takes. There's a certain amount of way you label. If you don't know that, they're not even going to listen to you because you can't do business with them then.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing that surprised me personally is how much I would work out of Canada.
Oh, really?
Yes, there's enough Wisconsin left in my voice where they just think in Canada, I am the cat's meow.
They think I'm speaking a different language there.
that's awesome.
They're like, I'm sorry, we don't speak that language.
I had a client last week who was like, how do you say about? Like, about.
Not about. So, Barb, since you play well in Canada, do you feel, I know you have like a tagline that you use. Would you still stick to that tagline? What is it?
Positive, practical voiceovers in a GIF.
Right. So that is a great branding statement for you. And hence why the friendly, you and I go for a lot of the same things. And nothing wrong with that. It's all good. Interesting. So, okay. What about you, Gwen? What do you think do you have like a tagline? You have a way to sum up your sound?
Well, it's warm confidence, cool elegance. And that's just based on the couple of years that I had working with different coaches. And you included, I remember we were working on a truck commercial. And I read the truck commercial and you were like, you cannot help but have luxury in your voice. You just, you cannot read that truck script like that. So that's just, years of coaching and listening to what other people are saying about my voice has kind of landed me in my 2 genres, which are non-broadcast. I do not do commercials. I do medical narration and live in-house.
Interesting.
So those are,
What about you, Carrie? Have you figured out, I know that was part of your challenge over the last year or so.
Untamed luxury. Because I have some roughness, if you want to call that, some rasp, some attitude. I get a lot of business in my acting for dubbing, like international films. I play characters. I can get mad. I can, do all those things in 18-year-olds who older. So I can play with my voice. And I envy you 3 because you are playing in a different arena than me, because I've tried to play in that arena. And that's one thing that I had to figure out on this journey. You're not going to be good at everything. You got to find out where your spot is and own it and love it. Love who you are. You're unique, And so that's been a journey of finding out really more who I am. And that's been really cool.
And now back to Gwen, do you audition for anything that you feel might be out of your wheelhouse, or do you just stick with the things that you're comfortable with?
Right now, I stick what I'm comfortable with because I know I can perform well and make the client happy. I'd like to stretch into sports promos, and I think you and I talked about that a while back, Linda, before my mom got sick. So at some point, I'll venture out into a couple different genres that I've got my eye on right now, like news and sports promos. But right now, these are my lanes, and I'm sticking in them.
Good. What about you, Barb? Do you go out of the box at all?
I really try not to. I only like to audition where I think I can make money because it really is all about the bucks. So if I see something that's way, way out in left field, it just gets deleted immediately because it might be really fun to do, but they're not going to book me.
I do the same thing because I'm like, why put myself through the frustration of something that deep down I know I don't fit for? And sometimes I'll question and I'll call the agent and go, why are you sending me this? And they'll just be like, oh, the casting director wants to hear you. I'm like, it's a 65-year-old woman. That is not me. I mean, I doesn't matter how old I get, my voice is going to be this, and I'm not comfortable trying because I'm not going to commit. I'm not going to be genuine, and I'm not going to believe myself. It's going to sound fake. But yeah, I delete them too. What about you, Carrie? Do you go for it since you have more of a acting? You kind of attract an acting.
I've been realistic though. Like I still have Voice 123 account and I look, and see, but it's rare now. It has to be really right on because, I have Latina accents and other things. So there's little pockets that I know that I can do that. That's worth my time. And then finding those little things that you're unique at. So I found those little things, but I will definitely pass on
something that you think,
some of that medical narration and younger, toy commercials and stuff. I know that is not what's
not going to fit.
Right.
That's good. Barb, what annoys you the most about being a voiceover talent? What's the most annoying thing you have to deal with?
Well, I could say pickups, but I won't.
Too late.
Redoing work is just... Really, I think the most annoying thing is just when those people come out of the woodwork and they're like, they want to know all about... They're going to get into it, and you spend all your time talking to them or typing them emails and sending them links and...
Well, you want to help people.
Your friend Linda, and... They're not going to. Why are they eating up my time?
Yeah, they shouldn't. No, I know. You have to.
This is not billable. Why are you eating up my time?
It's true. You're a nice person. Gwen, anything annoying for you that you deal with on a regular basis?
Just not having the work that I'd like to, because I think I have a lot to offer. I think I can do a lot in a day, and I just haven't had that opportunity. And a lot of it's my fault. I mean, I don't market like I should, right? I have to have Mark Scott sitting in the back of my head telling me, write that email, send that email, write that email, do the thing. So it's mostly my fault, but I would like to be busier. Yeah, that's the most annoying thing.
Makes sense. Okay. Carrie?
Yeah, I'm the same with them, but I think annoying for me is the things that I don't like to do, and it's marketing. It's social media. Like my kids are really good at that. But it's something that I think that we have to do just to keep ourselves out there, show what you do, because no one can see what you do. And I know this. I've just got to do it.
I know. I'm with you. I hate it.
Mark
Scott's myself.
Marketing playbook has been really wonderful.
Yeah.
It's super in-depth. And oh my gosh, I didn't think anyone could possibly share that much information. But it's been really, really helpful, and it's kind of motivating me to get off my duff a little bit and start doing this social media stuff, even though I hate it.
Yeah. I need like a little Mark Scott bobblehead.
We should make one.
We should make that, right?
Yeah, we'll make one.
We should all do that. And then that way he'd be doing this and he'd be literally chop in mind. There's Mark Scott.
Yeah. And he has a little button that he says his little things, right?
Do the thing.
Do the thing.
Do the thing.
He'd have a Dr. Pepper in his hand.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have a project.
There you go.
Like
Entrepreneurial. Next question. What do you think? Let me shift gears here. Okay. How's your studio sound? Are you happy with it?
You tell me. How do I sound?
Right.
I know Barb is, because she's got that fancy dancy one.
Yeah.
She's good. You're good.
I think I'm okay. I mean, I've never had anybody send back audio. George Whittam and Dan Leonard were instrumental in helping me in the very beginning. And Dan Friedman showed us how to do the rock wool, panel. So I've got some floaters up here and I've got them on the wall. And Jim Edgar is a wonderful help too when I have sound issues. So
great. And Carrie, you're happy with your stuff there? Who set that up? You, your husband?
Oh, the whole place. Yeah, we set it up, ordered all of it, built it out, a whole separate room, like a whisper room. But with my sound specifically, Dave helped me with that. And I do have a question for you ladies real quick, because I couldn't hear when I was working with him, like, what do you mean you're hearing this? I'm not hearing this. And then I just got some new headphones. And now I'm hearing things totally different. And I thought my other headphones were really good. So now I'm kind of like, it's important to have quality headphones. I mean, I thought I had quality headphones. And I mean, the difference when I'm doing a playback and submitting an audition, I'm like, oh.
What kind of headphones did you get?
Really?
Yeah.
What do you have?
These are the Sennheiser.
Sennheiser. Okay. What do you got on your?
What do you
Barb?
have?
The Sony MDRs.
Oh, but you have fancy little blue caps.
Well, that's because
Those are cute.
I wore out the caps on my other ones, so I had to get replacement ones.
You know, where'd you get those? I love those because that's my baby right there. I've used those headphones for 30 years.
I just got them on Amazon.
Okay, because I bought some that really cheap and they kept falling off. So then I finally just treated myself to a new pair of headphones. But I like that. You can pick colors. I don't have to look for them.
These aren't falling off, and they came in blue or red.
I think you can order just the pads for your headphones.
Yeah, you can just get replacement pads because they wear out.
So you have the classic.
They get caught in your hearing and they tear, or they just flake off because you've been wearing them too much and your head is sweaty.
Well, I had no idea. I'd
fun.
leave every day and I had this black, all of it was like right down here. Going to the store and people are like,
what's on your face? How about you, Gwen? What do your headphones look like?
I love the head hair that you get when you wear them too long. You get out of the booth and my husband's like, oh, you've been doing a session. I've got Sennheiser HD 280 Pros.
Okay. And everybody's happy with their equipment and the whole setup at this point.
What do you have?
I have the Sony MDRs.
Oh.
I've used these for 25 years. So I tried AKGs.
And I would say marry a broadcast engineer because that will help a lot with your sound.
Oh, yeah. You're lucky with that.
Yeah.
Lucky.
You're lucky.
Or work out of a facility like I do. That's the gift that I have. Okay. What are you most proud of booking wise? Who'd like to go first?
A bunch of things I can't talk about.
Oh,
I guess the national ads are fun. I did a couple national ads for a large financial firm.
Oh, very nice.
And it was really nice when they called me back for the second one. So I was
did those air on like MSNBC, CNBC?
CNN.
CNN, because I know I heard you and I think I texted you. And it was a financial ad. Nice. Okay, good.
Nice. Very
Anyone
good.
else got something that they're super duper proud of?
That's always the sign of success, right? When they come back to you. I mean, I feel like I've done some medical work for a company, ISIs mostly, but they're really long. They can be 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And they've come back to me because I can read
you do that
quickly
well.
and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love that I got on the Spotify talent list and I've got to do an Elf Cosmetics and H&M. And then the other one's been so much fun and steady work has been doing dubbing for Voquent for these telenovelas in Portugal. And I did a documentary in Spain. It was a 3-week. It's a 3-week documentary. It was amazing.
How fun.
Yeah.
Neat.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of that. And
all right.
You like dubbing more than anything you've done before? Is that the genre that interests you? Dubbing? I've never.
I do. I really do. I found like I got kind of good at it.
It's hard. I can't imagine doing it.
Well, I watched early on. I'm trying to figure out where do I start? Where do I go? And I happened upon a guy on YouTube and he was a dubber and he was like, look, is one of the things that helped set me apart was learning dubbing. And so I just got online and I learned how. And how do you be good? And how do I do that with my acting? And then you just get it's really easy if you kind of get in your little rhythm and your system, you know. Linda does it. She's done it. She loves
it. I hate it.
I didn't know you did that, Linda. I didn't know you were
Not
dubbing.
regularly. No, I had a client from
Don't call her
hell
for dubbing.
over Christmas, an Egyptian client who had a Chinese soap opera that had to be dubbed. And let's just say that their perspective on how long it takes to do this was very off. So they're like, "Oh, we have 80 episodes for you. Can you do them by next Wednesday?" I'm like, "What?" And we're talking like 30 different parts. So there was a male voice. So I got my friend from the Comedy Network, since he can do all sorts of voices. And then there's me, because I don't want to pay for anybody else. And I had to do like 13 ladies. And I said to them, I go, "You're going to have to get someone else for this, because I got like 4 accents in me. And then I get to, Minnesota mom, and we're done." So unless you want everybody to sound like that. But they didn't care. It was like one of these things. But the soap opera, it was entertaining, because they were like for TikTok, I think, these 60-second soap opera and a lot of slapping. And so that part was enjoyable, but the expectations were just not realistic, especially for how much they were paying, because I calculated out for every finished minute of audio, it was 5 minutes of production. And they were looking at it like, well, you're just going to read something. And it's like, no, it has to be placed. And you have to first off, you have to make sure you have something like Adobe or Pro Tools so you can bring in the video and be able to sync everything. It's just too much work for me anyway. If another company does it, fantastic. And I can see how it'd be fun, because you do get to act and get all crazy. But no, dubbing is not not a specialty for me.
The best experiences there.
But that's cool, Carrie, that you found that as like a passionate.
Yeah. It's a great outlet too, to be able to act it out, and it just gives me so much joy to be able to express myself that way. And I don't know if you gals feel the same way. It just,
when you find your
voice, you feel good. You feel like you're in your lane, right?
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay.
Like for me, it's e-learning, long form narration. Oh my God.
Love it.
And my former job set me up for that, Linda. I mean, it's just hours upon hours upon hours.
Well, what are the topics? Some of you, like, you're an expert in now.
So for e-learning, I do everything from pharmaceutical to construction to a popular blood draw company whose name I will not say because I'll get in trouble. Insurance, it's anything.
Barb, talk about, though, when you and I first met, right? We won't mention the company you worked with, but they were IVR company.
Yep. So it was professional services for telecom. So we didn't install phone systems. We didn't program phone systems, but we did provide recordings for phone systems.
Right.
And I found Linda because, was it United at the time?
The client?
Yeah.
I did a lot for you guys. I don't know.
Yeah. I can't remember what I first found you for. It was some airline I first found her for. And she was supposed to be the chatbot.
Oh, I remember that. Okay. Yes, I do.
I mean, we've done a million since then, but that whole, like, man, they flew her in and made her audition in front of them. And
then we had the bank. We had WAMU. That's what WAMU. I came to Chicago for. Really because that was like 9,000 prompts. It's insanity. Yeah, I know. But, and Pfizer, I did like 10 of their drugs.
Yeah.
I voiced 10 of their drugs. I didn't do 10 of their drugs. Let me tell you, Chantix and scary shit. Because it's all the disclaimer and the stuff that, they don't want to get sued for. Because all the stuff
it does freak me out every once in a while when I read that stuff. I'm like,
right? But you know what? It pays well. And if they continue to call you, but my point I wanted to make, Barb, was that when you would be casting for these, sometimes you would be doing it in like 20 languages. You'd be finding.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to find talent.
It was nuts. It was, especially when we got into like Filipino language. And, the Russians weren't too bad. The Chinese, oh my gosh. Oh, you booked white Hmong. We don't need white Hmong. We need this other kind of Hmong. And
What a challenge.
Oh, wow.
very challenging. When I left the company, I think we were probably doing 50 some odd languages. And that was enough for me.
Like, I'm out.
I didn't pick up any of them, but I knew enough to follow the bouncing ball.
Yeah.
And I could like hear when something didn't quite sound right.
Even though you don't know you don't have to know the language because you can tell that there's something's off with the way it's
like, I think I heard a stammer in there.
Big project. So how about mistakes, ladies? Gwen, have you made any mistakes that you regret? Anything that you like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that?
Absolutely. On my very first directed session. So very first directed session, I did not know you didn't keep your camera on. And so
you kept your camera on, you mean?
I kept my camera on. Yeah. And I didn't know you were supposed to turn it off. There were 7 or 8 people on the line. They were all super friendly and super nice, but I'm very animated when and using my hands. And I don't know, it was just like, it was horrible. I don't want to go into it, but it wasn't good.
Did they say anything?
No, they didn't. They were so nice. But it was until after my session that I heard somebody talk on a podcast or somewhere in an article that they said, yeah, you don't want to have your camera on. You want to have that off. Anyway.
Okay,
No?
I would not
Somebody
feel
shaking
bad
their-
about that.
No.
They asked for the Zoom.
You made their
that's
day
on
because you're
them.
so good
Yeah.
looking. Come on.
Oh,
You look good. They loved it.
so sweet. That's
They
funny.
loved it.
No, it was a big no-no, I thought.
I thought you were doing something
Anyway.
embarrassing with the camera on, but no.
Yeah. Come on.
You're a
Used to have
professional.
pants
You're a
on
good
when I
girl.
was doing
Like plucking your brows while you're on camera.
Yeah.
How about you, Carrie? Have you made any mistakes? Anything you regret at this point?
Oh, to this day, I can tell you what happened. My first job I got on Voices was with Target TV commercial.
Oh my
They
God.
hired like 5 or 6. I was the Latina girl. They wanted 11 takes, 4 words. I gave them 13 takes, turned it in. I was watching so many YouTube things and they're reviews. You got to ask for reviews, right? So I immediately asked her for a review. One day later, she gave me, she responds and says, Carrie, give me a week. We haven't even listened to these yet. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Can I just delete everything that I just said? And like, oh my God, I feel so
Oh, I
stupid.
wouldn't have thought that either.
Then she gave me a 4 because of it.
Really?
If you don't know about reviews on Voices and Voiceover and everything else, I feel like to get a 4, you had to have done something wrong. Because in her comments, she was like, she did great. Everything was turned in. Loved the final product.
So yeah, why not
The
give you 5?
only thing I did wrong was green jeans right here. Jump the gun. Can you give me a 5-star review real quick?
I would have done the
Let
same
me-
thing. I
I don't even know if they liked me. I didn't know if they were going to ask me for,
the overly eager.
another take.
Overly eager can turn some people off. Yeah, some clients can get annoyed.
Don't do that.
What about you, Barb?
Oh God, I'm sure I've made a million mistakes, but I think I've blocked them all out.
I know. Try not to think about them.
That's
I
a
don't
good
think I
thing.
have
That's
it.
mental
This
health
is
right
happening.
there for you. Block it.
Little of your meditation, Carrie.
It's,
right?
you get to just move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And you'll get booked again, and it's not the end of the world. And when you get booked again, you'll be on this total high and be like, I can do anything. And then you will for a while, and then it'll get dry.
Right. Okay.
I remember
Go ahead, Carrie.
Linda asked me once, she was like, well, when did it become, real for you? I was like, when I got a job. Like,
And then you knew.
if
When
one
they
person's
hired
going to
me.
hire me, there's someone else. I don't care. There's one other person. I
It's
promise.
a good attitude.
And that's what you got to tell yourself. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Shifting
happens.
to mental health then, do any of you do anything in particular when you're feeling low or maybe going through a dry spell? Anything to lift yourself up, or what do you tell yourself?
I tell myself to get back on the friggin' horse.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I usually use that time when it gets real pokey to reinvest in myself. I'll either book coaching Or I was like, thank God, in the middle of Playbook in May and June. So I had that to keep me busy. But usually if you do a little self-development, by the time you're done doing that, things will come back around.
Good. What about you, Gwen?
Yeah. And I listen to a lot of music and play a lot of music. And I don't know, that's uplifting to me. And I know this business is cyclical and it'll come back around. You just have to be marketing and you have to be emailing or cold calling. And sometimes that's just not my forte. It's not my favorite thing to do. Right. So again, the bobblehead of Mark Scott. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Write that down.
I will say from experience, because a lot of people will ask and say, is this typically a slow season or whatever? And I really think it depends on the industry, the genre, because like retail obviously has its ups and downs. But otherwise, if you are capable of doing several different genres, you'll work all the time. There may be a little bit of although I have to say, December and January were like kicking for me. And usually December's dead, like the end of December into January, like mid-January, but it was very, very busy. So I don't know if there is a formula, it's kind of like.
I mean, I think everything has its season, right? I mean, e-learning budgets, as I understand it, are established in late summer. So you might have like a little slowdown,
right?
And as I did, coming into late summer, but then it'll pick up again. And I bet spots kind of maybe dry up at the beginning of the year.
Right. So here we are, July, and I just got an audition for a TV commercial for the holidays. So now
I've noticed holiday stuff popping up.
Yeah. And I know when I was voicing for HSN, we would start our promos in like July for the holiday season. So you have like that 6-month out thing for some industries, but for some genres, I should say. But yeah, I haven't found it because I just don't want people to get all freaked out and be like, oh, because you could book something. You never know. Just keep auditioning, keep getting yourself out there.
Plus, when you have that extra time, I've used that time to brainstorm, be creative, like e-learning. I always said, I can't do that. Well, that e-learning job that I just finished, I was a character.
Right.
So there is that. It was for middle school learning engineering. And so I love that you can find your little spot somewhere.
I have to say
and then that'll keep.
The majority of the e-learning I've done has been for children's applications.
Has it?
And acting pieces too,
And that is so much fun.
Yeah, it's good. Can be a little monotonous, but yeah, and that's a different aspect of it that sometimes people think are just going to be reading like tutorials or some sort of, but you never know, well, Barb, it's all different types of things. So what do you do for mental health, Carrie? Like, I know you're big on mental health, so.
Well, I teach yoga and meditation. So there's that.
Okay.
So I know what I need to do, but sometimes I get down, we've had a hard year with our household finances. And so, you got to keep rolling because those bad thoughts are going to be there no matter what. I don't care who you are. They are. And you have a decision whether you're going to latch on it and run down that rabbit trail or you're just going to say, not today, and start just saying what you're grateful for, what I'm grateful for. And when I do, it's a shift. And then I can move on. And then I say, okay, what can I do? What can I do that's creative? What would be fun? Like to think out of the box, if it's a slow time. And those times were how I found the e-learning in the characters and then the acting and the dubbing and those kind of things. If you want this, you've got to go find it. It's not do 100 auditions and then, well, I tried.
Right.
You can find your spot.
Very true. All right. If you could sum it up in one word, describe the voiceover journey in one word so far.
Unpredictable.
Good. That's one of my surprise questions.
Life-changing.
Oh, good.
Adventurous.
Wow. Okay. That's
three.
a good angle.
Yeah, right here. It's been an adventure with my heart.
So as far as
you find yourself.
You have to find yourself or you'll go insane.
You learn a lot about yourself, even down to how you've been putting the same eyeliner on the same way since 7th grade, right? You just find it all out.
Have you ever been brought to tears from something happening in voiceover?
Oh, I have.
Yeah.
I read a very moving script on cancer, and this was before my mom got sick, but oh my gosh. I mean, I was weeping.
Wow.
I was weeping in the booth. And
Yeah, it's connection there. Or I was thinking on the part of like, oh my God, I'm quitting this business. I'm crying.
oh, sorry.
No, I like your
Perfect.
answer better.
I've been there too. I've been there too. I've been driving down the highway in my car going, why did I not get picked for that? And this has been a month where I've had nothing, or 2 months where I've had 3 months go by with nothing.
Wow.
And
that's tough.
So yeah, there have been tears for that.
Okay. Anyone else?
And just a script that I was recording, and they said, throw yourself into it. So I was nearly brought to tears. The engineer was nearly brought to tears. The producer was nearly brought to tears. We were all very weepy.
But those are good tears, though, because it's for a performance. And what about tears, though, about not working? Any tears from not working? Any tears from frustration? Oh, Lord, I've shed a few. So, I mean, I think it's great if you haven't, but...
Frustration just makes you want to go out there and get it even more, right? I mean,
it is. It's, you know what? I guess it's also the background too, because you were working in an industry that already had, you saw the inside of this. The rest of us, like I started from, I wasn't in radio at the time, and I was complete like newbie with it. So I took everything very personally because I didn't know how else to take it. So if someone didn't hire me, it was like, I stink. Oh my God, I'm horrible, and without having coaches back then or people that could guide you was very tough. But what about you, Carrie? You ever get sad about, I mean, you guys are all working, so.
Well, the audiobook with what Gwen was saying, reading a piece, and it was about adoption. And yeah, wow. Like I had to like step away and like collect myself. There's been a couple of times, and there were a couple of auditions that I auditioned for, and I broke down because it was like a spot like that, and I didn't turn it in. I was like, I can't.
It's too much.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I've literally cried from joy when something was so much fun. Like I am screaming on the top of my lungs, acting like a 10-year-old, and I'm getting paid.
That's awesome.
I was like, thank you, God. Thank you.
That's great. Well, ladies, you have all been wonderful sharing your experiences. I really do appreciate it. Everything has been, it's just such a good, first it's a good place to share. It's a good place to let other people know that, this isn't a 1, 2, 3, and you just don't buy a microphone and suddenly become a voice talent.
Set it up on your kitchen table. It'll be fine.
The acoustics are great in the bathroom too.
And find a group to get connected with, no matter what, whether it's the gurus or not. But
you need people
where you can connect. With
Is there
others.
anything anyone would change so far? Anything that maybe you wish you could go back and say, I wish I'd done that differently?
I wish I had embraced my skill set. Of course, I hadn't really found it yet, but embraced my skill set earlier on instead of chasing things that I book, but I don't really book at them. I wouldn't have chased after all those spots because, I went into this thinking, I'm going to be spot girl all day, every day. And that is not the reality. Instead, I'm going to tell you how to pull blood out of somebody's arm over and over. But yeah, if I had embraced my wheelhouse earlier on, I think I'd be further on the journey.
Interesting. Okay.
But you have to experiment, right, with a whole bunch of different things to
find yourself.
Find that lane, to find where you fit. Because I did commercial stuff as well, and I thought this was where I wanted to be. And I realized I don't do that as well as you guys do. I just don't, and I don't connect with it as much. I really connect with medical narrations. I really connect with live announce when I'm getting to announce award winners and whatnot.
So cool.
I just don't.
You don't get nervous?
I don't really connect. Oh, I have never done a live. No, I've done one live. Most everything else has just been sending it my MP3, and then they play it with their. I send it to their AV teams. But I feel like you have to go through those, Barb, just to
find it.
Just to find.
You got to find yourself. It's a journey.
Yeah.
Journey.
Can't rush it either.
What about you, Carrie? Anything you want to change?
Well, I mean, I was thinking along the same lines as you, but I'm like, gosh, it sounds hokey, but I mean, you wouldn't be where you are right now with the clients that you have and the experiences that you have. There are some things where I'm just like, why did I sign up for that site?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to name them, but there are sites out there that I wish I would have not signed up for.
Oh, in the beginning?
Yes. And then a year or two later, they're trying to charge my card again, or it just wasn't fruitful at all. It was a waste of time. So yes, there's that. So I just encourage people, research what sites you want to go on and start with one. And then
these all sound like just really good experiences that you guys have, had that have helped you move to the next round of this game we call voiceover. So yeah, I wouldn't classify any of them as mistakes. And I don't think there is a mistake because again, we're learning from everything. And like Gwen's saying, how are you going to know unless you try it? You got to try a bunch of things. Well, thank you ladies so much. I appreciate you joining me.
It was great joining.
Thank you to Carrie Farris and Barb Lyon and Gwen Poynor. Now, Gwen, give me your website.
It's gwenvoiceover.com.
All right, Barb.
BarbLyon.com.
Carrie.
CarrieFarris.com. So CarrieFarris. People are always like, Carrie Fisher? No. Carrie Farris, like the Ferris wheel? No. Karen? No. I'm not a Karen.
Thanks so much for joining us. That wraps it up for this episode of the Voiceover Gurus podcast. We have some unusual workouts coming. We have something kind of cool coming in August as well. So join the community, which is free, and then you can find out about all these things. And I'm just doing my little tease with that. But anyway, everyone have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Linda.
Hang on a second.
Nice and cathartic.
Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry. Learn more about us and get coaching at voiceover.guru.